In today's show, we're going to be talking about dividend capture theory. Is it a quick way to make some easy dividend dollars? Or is it perhaps a little bit too risky? Stick around, we're going to find out. Hi, and welcome to Financial Brew. My name is Candace, and I will be your guide as we take yet another journey into the financial verse. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Dividend Capture Strategy. Some of you may know what that is, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure some of you probably, this is the first time you've heard of it. For a few of you, it may even completely blow your mind. So where exactly should we begin? Obviously, we'll ask that question, what is a dividend? So a dividend, quite simply, it's a payment distribution of a portion of a company's profit to its shareholders. It is usually paid out monthly or quarterly. In some cases, though, a company may not have profits, but they still want to provide a dividend to their shareholders, and that does happen. A lot of times, if you look at companies who are what we call dividend aristocrats, there's a lot of prestige behind that title. So by keeping their dividend streak alive, they can maintain it. But we're going to do a video on dividend aristocrats, dividend kings, all of that in the future. Now, let's take a little bit of a deeper look towards the dividend capture strategy. When we want to do a dividend capture strategy, there's three major dates that are really, really important. I like to think of these as the dividend lifecycle and sort of visualize it as a triangle. Cool, huh? So, if you think about it, each corner of this triangle is a date. The first date that's really important is the date of declaration. The date of declaration is simply the date that the company says, yes, we're going to pay a dividend, and here's how much it's going to be. So it's important to get past that date, because once they declare it and the amount, then you're going to know whether or not that company's dividends is something you want to capture. Okay, so the next important date is called the ex-dividend date. So the ex-dividend date is simply this. Whoever owns that stock, when the bell rings on the ex-dividend date, as in the opening bell, they are the ones who get the dividends. So if you buy the stock on the ex-dividend date, you're not getting the dividends. You have to buy the stock the day before. Otherwise, it'll be somebody else's name on that stock at the opening bell. Okay. So the third important date, well, it's the payment date, because, hey, that's when you get to take home your dividends. So when we look at these three dates, they are going to play a massive factor in the dividend capture strategy. Okay, so how exactly do we do it? Well, let's talk about how dividend capture strategy, how it works. Okay, so there's basically three steps to the dividend capture strategy. The first step is you're going to buy your dividend company stock, the day before the ex-dividend date, because you need to get your name on the dividend payout list. It's important. So once you've gotten your name on it, you can sell it at any point after that. However, I usually say at least wait a day, and this, or a bit longer, because this all has to do with price recovery, and we're going to talk about that in just a second, because that's really important in this strategy. And of course, once you've done that, you're going to get paid, so that's great. You can at that point take that money and go after your next dividend capture target. So it's a way of cycling through companies to try to maximize your dividends. It makes sense. It's a great way to make some money. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, recovery. So what exactly is recovery? So basically, on the ex-dividend date, the price of the stock is usually going to go down about an equivalent amount to the divs that company is paying out. And if you think about it, if you think about their coffers are going down that amount. That's why the company's price goes down that amount. So here's the danger. if you sell the stock immediately after your name's been listed as the dividend payout person, well, you'll have made no profits. This whole thing will be for naught. So we're not going to do that because that's a terrible idea. So that's why we need recovery. So you need to give the stock. Usually it depends on a lot of factors. For example, smaller cap stocks may only need a couple of days. Larger cap stocks may need a week, may need 2. If they're a quarterly dividend payer, they may need even more time to recover. So that's the whole thing. You want to let them recover so that when you sell them, you're not going to be selling at a loss. You want, or at a break even, you want to make a profit. That's the whole idea behind this strategy. Okay. I think what we need is probably an example just to make this a little bit clearer. We're going to start with a fictional company, and I think we'll call it DivBrew. So over at DivBrew, here's some of our basic information. So on September 1st, we're going to give a declaration saying that we're going to pay all of our shareholders basically 10 cents a share. Now, considering our shares are listed at $10 a share, that means they're getting basically a 10% dividend yield, which is amazing. It's a great number. So we're probably selling a lot of shares. But for this example, you come along as our dividend capture strategist, and you buy 1,000 shares on September 30th, because the ex-dividend day is October 1st in this example. So you pay $10,000. So that's pretty hefty investment. And then the bell rings on October 1st. When that bell rings, you at that point have earned those dividends. So that $100 of dividends is coming to you no matter what your next decision is. However, the price of the share drops by the dividend amount. So we're down to $9.90 a share. So if you were to sell at this point, you're only going to have $9,900, and then you're going to get your $100 dividend, which takes you right back to $10,000, which is exactly where you started. So there's no net profit. So that's definitely not how you want to do it. That's why recovery is the way to go. So what happens if you let it recover? So if it recovers back to its original $10 a share, that means when you sell it, you're going to get back your $10,000, plus you're getting that $100 divs on the payout day. So you get a net profit of $100. Just like that. Bang. Done. Now, where this is a small cap, because I'm going to say DivBrew is fairly small, but we're a small cap DivBrew. We may recover in maybe a couple of days. So technically in just 3 days, you've made $100. Very simple, very easy. That's the dividend capture strategy. It's pretty frigging awesome when you have the right situations to use this in. Okay, so we do have, of course, a couple of points of interest that we want to talk about in regards to the dividend capture strategy. The first is simply that when you are looking for companies that you can do this strategy on, keep in mind that quarterly dividends, they can pay quite a bit more because, if you take the annual amount of dividend divided by 4, it's much higher than dividing it by 12. The only caveat that comes with that is that they do have longer recovery times. Usually, if I'm looking for a company that I want to do something like this with, I will go back and I will actually look at their past ex-dividend dates and their amount of recovery, and I'll just take a look at it and sort of see, oh, okay. So I have a general idea of how long it took them, and if that's a time frame I'm willing to wait. Because part of the idea of a dividend capture strategy is you want to get in and out fairly quickly. Okay. Now, where should you do this? Should you do it in your personal account? Or should you be doing it in one of your registered accounts like your TFSA or your RRSP? I would say no, 100% to your RRSP. As for the TFSA, if you were going to do it once, every couple of months or something, if an opportunity popped up, or if you had one company that had a quarterly dividend that you wanted to do it for, then that's probably okay. You just don't want to be doing it a lot in your TFSA because you don't want to get flagged for day trading, because that's not what the TFSA is for. However, we have the personal account. That personal account, you can do whatever you want. You can be day trading, swing trading. You can be buying and selling as much as you possibly can. And it doesn't cause any issues whatsoever. So I definitely say your personal account is a good place if you're going to be using this strategy, as a more regular sort of thing. Okay, now the third is, let's talk a tiny bit more about Wealthsimple. I know if you caught my last video, we talked a lot about Wealthsimple, but they're coming back to this one for the simple reason that commission-free trading will help you maximize the dividends that you're able to make with this dividend capture strategy. So commission-free trading is awesome when you're doing dividend capture. If you don't yet have Wealthsimple, check down below. There is a referral link down there, and they'll give you a couple of free shares for signing up, and they'll throw me a couple as well, which is kind of cool. Also, if you liked the content you saw here today, be sure to hit like. If you want to come back for more, hit that subscribe, as well as the little bell down there, because then that will make sure every time I get a funky idea, you'll be one of the first to know. Also down below, we got friends of the channel, so Hi Rye and the Danters. Be sure to check out their channels as well. Throw them some subscribes. Join the happy family. And until next time, thank you for dropping into the Financial Verse. Take care.